Well, hello everybody. This is Robin Howe again. We are in week 3 of our course, and I decided to do something slightly different today. Well, I've been doing something slightly different in all of my videos thus far, but I'm not wearing a collared shirt anymore. Um, one of the well, one of the weird things about doing online courses, you don't really have the personal relationship with the people in your courses. I know some of you, I've met some of you last summer, and I've taught some of you before, and maybe some of you know each other from your residency in the summer, but it's a highly impersonal experience doing online education. And especially right now when most of us are stuck at home, I thought, you know what, why not be a little more personal in my delivery? So I work for an organization called the Montessori Foundation, and have been teaching courses at Loyola. I've known Jack Rice for some years, um, and I also grew up in Maryland. My sister teaches at Loyola, so anyway, so I have a lot of connections to Maryland, but I don't really know most of you. So I think that was my point. But at any rate, I work for this foundation, and so I have 3 main contracts this year. One of them is out in Ketchum, Idaho, where I'm the head of school out there. I also am the director of a Montessori Teacher Education Center um, in Salt Lake City at Westminster College. So that's a training program like many of you are doing, where you can get credentials ranging from infant toddler, early childhood, lower elementary, upper elementary, either one of those separately. We also offer an administrator's course. And then I also have a contract out in Iraq, in Kurdistan. And that is a school that is that's trying to be a Montessori school. One of the challenges they face is they are mandated by law to teach single grade classrooms, and they have to teach Arabic, and they have to teach um, Islamic studies, which that's all great. But so the question is, how do you take them and help transform their school into a Montessori school? And so part of the joy I've had for that particular project is working with their government and trying to help them understand what the benefits are of Montessori and how it works, and help them digest it. So the moral of this whole story is, when things started getting bad I guess now it was 2 weeks ago today. I guess today's Wednesday, when this whole coronavirus was declared a pandemic. I was out in Idaho, and I was supposed to actually be in Iraq the week before then, but that got canceled because Kurdistan is very close to Iran, and Iran's getting hit pretty hard. So I quickly came back, but I came back to Florida, where it is not 3 degrees in the morning, and I have my winter beard, which I basically use that as an excuse just to grow a beard. But I'm looking particularly shaggy these days, and so I will eventually get cleaned up. But right now, it's more of a, well, what's the purpose? What's the point? So anyway, that's a little fun story about where I'm at right now. And so I decided, you know what, instead of going and putting on a collared short, I'll just sit out here on my patio, and at least I'm wearing a shirt, and create this video for you all. So I've really enjoyed reading your posts about what technology is. Had some really great feedback on what you all thought about the Grassini article. And again, some of you have probably gotten that from me already, but the reason why I like that, and I think I mentioned this in some of the responses, is because I think it does a really nice job of helping sort of outline the key components of the student in each plane. And if you're thinking about, Montessori, and I know I wrote this too, so I'm sorry to be redundant, what Montessori really did is she basically looked at the prepared environment, right? And so part of that is, of course, the preparation of the adults or the teacher there, and the physical environment. But really all she was saying is, to be successful, to have optimum success with these children, you need to present certain things. So part of that, of course, is the physical environment, and then the other part of it is creating situations where children can do what comes naturally. So as we talk about the second plane, we're talking about children that can, of course, think more abstractly. That's one huge component, which sort of ties into technology. But if you think about why you teach the great lessons starting in lower elementary versus primaries, because they can think about things like time. And I know I mentioned that in another video. But one of the other key characteristics, in addition to being able to think more abstractly, is the need for social interaction and developing their own personal social social identity. So during the second plane is where children are often trying to figure out, okay, am I a leader? Am I a follower? Am I an arguer? How do I fit into the social constructs of my peers? And, so for those reasons, you'll often walk into an elementary classroom, whether it's lower or upper or combined, and you'll see that many of the children are talking. And so one of the challenges we have as elementary teachers is finding that balance between being disruptive and being social. And sort of my tool, or not my tool, but my rule was always, okay, well, if you are not distracting others and you're being productive, then we can usually let it go. But again, it's really important to remember that part of the work of the child in the second plane of development is this development of their social personality. And so something that came up in one of your posts was how technology is actually supporting social development. And that struck me particularly right now, where the only opportunity that some of these kids are going to be able to have is to be social is through social media and technology. So, we don't know really what the long-term ramifications are of having children that only grow up or that primarily grow up using online tools for their social networking. And by social network, I don't mean Facebook, but like children that come home from school and don't spend a lot of time playing sports or playing outside, but then go on to these virtual worlds. We don't know what that's going to bear, but they certainly are experiencing a social experience there. And, I never really thought of that really in some ways technology is creating a platform for children that might not otherwise have social experiences. And then I started thinking even more about just sort of what we're going on here. And I know I'll just speak for myself, but feeling very isolated from my family. I have older parents. Well, hopefully they don't watch this, and they wouldn't suggest they're older, but they're almost 70 and 75. And I'm specifically staying away from them, even though my father's up in Maryland. We're all being isolated. So having technology, having platforms like Zoom or Facebook even, are meeting a need, and I would suggest that in this case, meeting it in a positive way and being a support to me during this time of sort of social isolation. So anyway, it was just something interesting for us to think about. And when the world gets back to normal and we are, encouraging our children to solve conflict on their own, to work through things, to problem solve, I just think it's interesting, or it will be important for us to remember that these social platforms and technology can also serve a positive purpose. And that was what I was trying to present to you all in the video, in the last video of this current week's unit, is somebody explaining the basically a pro-social networking or pro-social media perspective. So I don't think it's all black and white. I don't think any of us can say it's good or bad, but I think that we need to continue to figure out how social networking and how technology serves the needs of our children, serves our needs. And I think that we will look back on this particular period right now of our lives and of the history of the world, and I think that we're going to find that this has been a pivotal moment in how we view technology and interweb interactions, because that's what we're being forced to. So, at any rate, this was a bit of a ramble, but I wanted to sort of just share with you all what I was thinking, and hopefully a bit of it was helpful, or if not, maybe it gave you something to do for 10 minutes while you watch it. So, anyway, I hope you all are doing well. Just some other sort of housekeeping things. I did share with you all some sites, the Facebook sites that are collaborations of Montessorians from all over the world, of things that they're doing to try to meet the needs of students right now, and teachers during this time. So you don't have to go on. It's just something that I thought might be helpful. Some of you have expressed interest in being added to the the resource email list. So if you have done that, I have asked, have added you to it. So that will just be probably more resources than you need. But I know I'm struggling. I won't say struggling, but I'm working hard to try to figure out what I can do for my teachers and my families without giving them so much information that it becomes overwhelming. So I'm essentially vetting it and then coming up with a plan that I'll then disseminate with my teachers and my parents and students. So anyway, that's what I was attempting there. And then the other thing I was just going to suggest is I've also heard from some of you that you are feeling overwhelmed, which again you are just like the rest of us trying to figure out how this is going to play out. Especially some of you who are worried about jobs, which is a real concern. As a school leader, I'm worried. Okay, what does this mean even for the long-term survival of our school? If I work at a private school, if people either can't or won't pay their tuition, I can't pay my teachers. So we're all in this together. So if you're feeling anxious, please don't feel bad, and please do not worry about hard deadlines for your papers. If you're a couple days late or even a week late, what I would rather you do is spend the time and produce a quality product that you spend some time on and then get it to me. Really, the deadlines that matter are the online forums, so that way you can have meaningful conversations with your classmates. And then the hard deadlines on your papers are more to keep you going. I don't want you to get to week 7 and then realize you have 6 papers to do and then you're really feeling overwhelmed. So that's really just to keep you going. So I think that's it for me for this week. So again, hope you all are doing well. Most importantly, I hope you're staying healthy and managing the stress as best you can. As many of you are probably thinking about your students and their parents and how what you do impacts them, also make some time for yourselves. Recognize that this is a very stressful time for you. So if that means taking some extra time for meditation or reading or sitting outside on your patio, making a video to a group of people that you probably haven't met, please make time for that, because self-care is incredibly important right now as well. So I hope you're all doing well, and I look forward to getting back to you in your posts. And if there's anything I can do, even if it has nothing to do with our course, if it's a question about resources or even right now, possibly even as we speak, they're finalizing passing the not the incentive, passing the stimulus. How does that, what does that mean? I'd be glad to share resources as they come my way. One of the things that I'm thinking about as a school leader is what makes the most sense for my staff in terms of HR. I mean, there's talks of some really pretty creative ways of looking at making sure people get paid without running the school. So if there's anything I can do that's even above what technology and education in Montessori, please feel free to reach out. I think I did share my phone number on one of the emails, so feel free to text or email, and I'll get back to you all as soon as I can. So take care, have a wonderful week, and talk to you soon.